Corey Bennett. I looked up from my laptop. The entire conference room was already watching me. Not because I had done anything wrong. At least, I didn't think I had. Because the woman standing at the head of the table, the woman who had bought our company less than 48 hours ago, had just stopped halfway through her introduction and said my name like she knew me. Evelyn Carter, 30 years old, founder of Carter Dynamics. The woman every business article described as ruthless, brilliant, and impossible to impress. Our new CEO. Yes, I answered. Her eyes stayed on me. Then her mouth curved into a smile. Husband. Someone coughed. My manager nearly dropped his pen. I honestly thought I had misheard her. Excuse me. Evelyn folded her arms. Husband. You really don't remember me. The room exploded into whispers. I could practically feel 20 people turning my way. Ryan, the guy sitting beside me, leaned closer. Dude, he whispered. Is there something you forgot to put on your resume? I've never met her. Evelyn heard me. Her smile disappeared. You've never met me? That came out wrong. No, Corey. I think it came out very clearly. Our CFO suddenly became fascinated with the papers in front of him. I stood. Ms. Carter, can we talk outside? Why? You weren't shy when you proposed. More whispers. I stared at her. Proposed? Every day. What? At 5. Something about the way she said it hit a locked door somewhere in my memory. 5. Not 5 o'clock meetings. Not 5 years ago. 5 years old. A cracked sidewalk between 2 suburban houses in Columbus, Ohio. A little girl with messy brown hair sitting on the curb beside me. I had been holding 2 grape popsicles. One for me. One for... No way, I said. Evelyn's expression changed instantly. There it was. Not the CEO smile. Not the expression from magazine covers. Something younger. Something almost victorious. Finally, Evie. Ryan made a choking sound beside me. Evelyn raised one eyebrow. Took you long enough, husband. I sat back down because my legs suddenly felt unreliable. 22 years. That was impossible. The little girl next door had moved away when we were 8. I remembered almost nothing clearly anymore, only fragments. Bike races. Water balloons. Her stealing fries off my plate. Me knocking on her back door every afternoon. And one stupid joke. Apparently, she hadn't forgotten it. When we were 5, I had heard my dad call my mom, wife, while handing her coffee. For some reason, 5-year-old me decided that was the funniest word in the English language. So the next afternoon, when Evelyn came outside, I shouted, Hey, wife. She threw a plastic shovel at me. The next day, I did it again. And again. For years. Oh my God, I muttered. Evelyn turned back toward the executives. Now that our reunion is complete, shall we continue? Nobody was listening anymore. Neither was I. For the next 30 minutes, she explained the acquisition plan while I tried to reconcile the girl who once cried because I accidentally stepped on her sidewalk chalk with the woman discussing a $40 million restructuring. When the meeting finally ended, I grabbed my laptop and headed for the door. Corey. I stopped. Everyone else stopped too. Evelyn glanced around. Unless the rest of you were also married to me in kindergarten, you can leave. They disappeared faster than people escaping a fire drill. Ryan gave me a thumbs up before closing the door. Traitor. I turned around. Evelyn was leaning against the table. You really forgot me. I didn't forget you. You said you'd never met me. You look different. I was 8. Exactly. She laughed. Actually laughed. It was so different from the controlled woman who had been speaking 10 minutes earlier that I found myself smiling. Then she reached into her jacket pocket. I kept something. She placed a tiny plastic ring on the conference table. Pink. Cheap. Half the fake jewel was missing. My smile vanished. You still have that. You gave it to me. We got it from a vending machine. You spent 75 cents. I was 7. That was serious money. You told me it made the marriage official. I was an idiot. Her eyes narrowed. Careful. I laughed. Evelyn, we were kids. I know. But she picked up the ring carefully. Too carefully. That made me stop laughing. She slid it back into her pocket. So, I said, how long have you known I worked here? 3 months. My eyebrows shot up. 3 months. I saw your name during due diligence. And you didn't contact me? I wanted to see your face. You bought my company for a prank. She stared at me. Then she laughed again. No, Corey. Even you aren't worth $400 million. Good. That would have been awkward. You're worth maybe $250. There's the ruthless CEO everyone warned us about. She walked closer. You were expecting someone else? I was expecting someone terrifying. I am terrifying. You carried a pink plastic ring for 22 years. Her smile vanished. I immediately realized I had stepped on something deeper than a joke. Before I could apologize, the door opened. A tall man in a charcoal suit entered. Evelyn, the board call is starting. His eyes moved to me. And this is Corey Bennett, she said. The man's expression sharpened. I know the name. That wasn't reassuring. Evelyn looked between us. Corey, this is Grant Holloway, our chief strategy officer. Grant offered his hand. I shook it. His grip was unnecessarily firm. I've heard quite a bit about you. Apparently everyone has accepted me. He didn't laugh. Instead, he turned to Evelyn. The board is already concerned about favoritism after this morning. Her face cooled instantly. That was fast. You called an employee husband in front of senior leadership. Technically accurate. It was kindergarten. Still counts. Grant sighed. I stepped back. This is exactly what I don't want. Evelyn looked at me. What? I don't want people thinking I'm here because I know you. You were here before I arrived. That won't matter. Grant said nothing. His silence told me I was right. I picked up my laptop. From now on, at work, I'm Corey Bennett. You're Ms. Carter. Her expression hardened. No wife? Definitely no wife. And outside work. I reached for the door. We'll negotiate. That smile returned. 5 o'clock. I paused. What? Meet me downstairs at 5. I have plans. No, you don't. How would you know? You still put dentist appointments in your shared work calendar. I stared at her. That feels illegal. 5, Corey. I opened the door. Behind me, she added, don't make your wife wait. I walked out to find half the office pretending not to watch. Ryan rolled his chair toward me. So what? Are you secretly married to our billionaire CEO? No. Did she call you husband? Yes. Did you propose? When I was 7. He blinked, then grinned. You're never surviving this. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I opened the message. 5 p.m. Don't run away this time. Evie. Before I could respond, another message arrived. A photograph. 2 kids standing beside a crooked cardboard house in somebody's backyard. 5-year-old me was wearing a plastic tie. Evelyn had a towel over her head like a wedding veil. Under the photo, she had written one sentence. You promised you'd marry me when we grew up. I smiled despite myself and started typing. Then a third message appeared. This one wasn't from Evelyn. No name. No photo. Just one line. Stay away from Evelyn Carter if you want to keep your job. I read the message twice. Stay away from Evelyn Carter if you want to keep your job. No name. No number I recognized. I checked the sender information. Blocked. Something wrong. Ryan was still standing beside my desk, holding coffee like he had nowhere better to be. I locked my phone. No. That was definitely a something is wrong face. I thought you had work. I do. This is more interesting. I gave him a look. He backed away with both hands raised. Fine. I'll leave the billionaire childhood wife situation alone. Please stop calling it that. No promises. The second he left, I opened the message again. Part of me wanted to send it straight to security. The other part thought maybe it was exactly what it looked like. Someone in the company already furious that the new CEO knew me personally. Grant's warning from the conference room came back to me. The board was concerned about favoritism. That had taken less than an hour. At 4:57, I was still at my desk. At 4:58, Ryan walked past. You going? No. At 5. No. To meet your wife? She is not my wife. At exactly 5 o'clock, my phone rang. Evelyn. I answered. You're late, she said. It's 5. You're still upstairs. How do you know? I can see your office from the conference room. I looked toward the glass wall. Across the floor, Evelyn was standing behind another pane of glass with her phone at her ear. She lifted one hand and waved. You're creepy. You used to wait outside my house every day. I was 5. You keep using that excuse. I'm staying late. No, you're hiding. From you. From everyone watching you. That shut me up. She was right. I had noticed it all afternoon. People looking over. People whispering. 2 managers who had barely spoken to me before suddenly asking whether I wanted coffee. One guy from finance had actually said, Hey, man, if you ever want to put in a good word. I hated it. Evelyn's voice softened. Corey, come downstairs. Why? Because I want to talk to you without 30 people pretending not to listen. I glanced around. 3 people immediately looked at their screens. Fine. Good husband. I hung up. 5 minutes later, I found her in the lobby wearing a dark coat instead of the blazer from the morning. No assistants. No executives. No Grant. She looked almost normal. Almost. Where are we going? I asked. Dinner. You said talk. People talk while eating. That sounds suspiciously like you tricked me into dinner. Yes. At least you admit it. We walked 2 blocks to a small diner tucked between a pharmacy and an old bookstore. I stopped outside. You remember this place? She looked at me like I had finally passed a test. My dad used to bring us here after soccer practice. You hated soccer. I hated running. You once faked a stomachache for 3 weeks. It worked twice. That memory came back so clearly I laughed. Inside, Evelyn chose a booth in the back. The waitress handed us menus. Evelyn didn't open hers. Cheeseburger, no onions, extra pickles, she said. I stared at her. What? You still order that? How would you know? You ordered it every time we came here. When I was 8. And I eat vegetables now. She looked genuinely disappointed. I don't know who you are anymore. The waitress looked between us. Old friends. Evelyn smiled. Married? No, I said immediately. The waitress grinned and walked away. You enjoy this way too much. I waited 22 years. Let me have one day. That sentence landed harder than I expected. You really thought about me all that time? Her expression changed. Not dramatic, just quieter. I didn't spend every day staring at the plastic ring, Corey. I didn't mean. But yes, I remembered you. I leaned back. Why? She looked almost offended. Why wouldn't I? Because we were kids. So, people move. People change. You changed. You became a CEO. You got taller. That's not comparable. You still tap your thumb against the table when you're nervous. I stopped tapping immediately. She smiled. You still hate being noticed. You noticed that too? I noticed everything. The food arrived before I could answer. For a while, we ate. Then I remembered the anonymous message. Evelyn. Is there anyone at the company who would want me gone because of you? Her fork stopped. Why are you asking? I pulled out my phone and showed her. She read the message once. Her face changed completely. The playful woman from 5 minutes ago disappeared. Forward this to me. Do you know who sent it? No. But you have an idea. I have several. That sounds reassuring. It isn't. I lowered my voice. Grant. No. You answered fast. Because Grant would tell you to stay away from me to your face. Good point. She handed my phone back. There are people who oppose the acquisition. There are people who think I'm too young. There are people who think any personal relationship makes me vulnerable. Personal relationship? Her eyebrow lifted. Would you prefer historic marriage? Please don't. She smiled, but only for a second. Corey, don't respond to that number. I wasn't planning to. And if anyone approaches you about me, tell me. That makes it sound like I need protection. You might. I can handle myself. I know. The way she said it made me study her. You really do remember me. More than you remember me. There was no accusation in her voice. That somehow made it worse. I looked down at my fries. I'm sorry. For what? For forgetting so much. She shook her head. You didn't forget on purpose. Still, Evelyn reached into her bag. Not the plastic ring this time. An envelope. Old. Bent at the edges. She placed it between us. My name was written on the front in uneven child handwriting. Corey. What is that? The letter. What letter? The one I tried to leave for you the night we moved. I didn't touch it. You still have it. My mom found it in one of our boxes years later. Why didn't I get it? My father was rushing us out. I put it under your porch mat, but apparently my mom picked it back up because she thought it was trash. That is unbelievably depressing. I was 8. I picked up the envelope carefully. Can I read it? It was written to you. Inside was one sheet of lined notebook paper. The spelling was terrible. The letters were huge. But I could still understand it. Dear Corey, Dad says we have to leave tonight. I am mad because I didn't get to tell you. Don't get another wife. I will come back when we are grown up. You promised we would get married for real when we are older. I still have the ring. At the bottom. Love, Evie. And underneath that. P.S. You owe me $3 because you broke my scooter. I laughed before I could stop myself. You remembered the $3 too? Absolutely. I'll pay you interest. You can't afford it. I folded the letter carefully. Then I noticed something written on the back. Different handwriting. Older. Teenage, maybe. One sentence. If I ever find him, I'm going to ask if he remembers. I looked up. Evelyn had gone quiet. When did you write that? 17. You were still looking for me then? Yes. How? Social media? School records? Mutual family friends? Nothing dramatic. Nothing dramatic? I hired an investigator once. I almost dropped the letter. You hired an investigator? I was 24 and had money. That does not make it less insane. He found the wrong Corey Bennett. I laughed. She tried not to. Then we both started laughing at once. For the first time all day, I forgot about the office. Forgot about Grant. Forgot about the whispers. For a few minutes, she was just Evie again. Then my phone buzzed. Another blocked message. I opened it. This one had a photo attached. Taken through the diner window. Evelyn and me sitting across from each other. The message beneath it said, "You were warned. Tomorrow, everyone will know why she really bought your company." My stomach dropped. Evelyn saw my face. What happened? I turned the phone toward her. She read it. Her expression went cold. Then her own phone rang. She answered. Carter. A voice spoke on the other end. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw her jaw tighten. When? Another pause. Send me everything. She hung up. What? She looked at me. The board just received an anonymous file. What kind of file? Emails. Financial records. Photos. Of us. Some of them. I sat forward. What are they claiming? Evelyn held my gaze. That I knew you worked at Halcyon before the acquisition. You did. Yes. And they're claiming I spent $400 million buying this company because of you. I stared at her. That's ridiculous. I know. Then prove it. I can. Good. She didn't move. That was when I realized there was more. What else? Her voice dropped. The file also says I'm planning to promote you to vice president tomorrow. I laughed once, then stopped. Tell me that part's fake. Evelyn didn't answer. Evie. She leaned back slowly. I was going to offer you the position next week. I stared at her. You've got to be kidding me. Corey. No. You haven't even heard why. I don't care why. You should. Everyone already thinks I'm sleeping my way into a promotion, and you were actually planning to promote me? Her eyes hardened. You earned it. That doesn't matter now. It matters to me. That's exactly the problem. She went still. I pushed the envelope back toward her. Tomorrow morning, I'm requesting reassignment. No. You don't get to say no. I'm your CEO, and I'm not your husband. That hit. I saw it immediately. But before either of us could say anything else, Evelyn's phone buzzed again. She looked at the screen, then at me. What now? I asked. She turned the phone around. A company-wide email had just been scheduled for 8 a.m. Subject line. Special treatment at Carter Dynamics, the CEO's secret husband. And attached beneath it was the photograph of us sitting in the diner. Someone inside the company wasn't just trying to embarrass Evelyn. They were coming after me too. By 7:42 the next morning, everyone knew. The email never made it to the full company list. Evelyn's security team stopped it 17 minutes before the scheduled send. That should have helped. It didn't. Screenshots were already circulating. Someone had forwarded the draft to at least 6 managers, and by the time I walked into the office, conversation died around me so quickly it was almost impressive. Ryan appeared beside the elevator. You look terrible. Thanks. I'm in emotionally. That's much better. He lowered his voice. I saw the email. Of course you did. Half the building saw it. I kept walking. Ryan followed. For what it's worth, nobody with a functioning brain believes she bought the company because of you. I looked at him. You told 3 people yesterday that I secretly married a billionaire. That was before espionage entered the situation. Great defense. At my desk, there was already a calendar invitation waiting. Executive conference room, 8:15 a.m. Attendees, Evelyn Carter, Grant Holloway, Human Resources, Legal Counsel. And me. I stared at it. Ryan leaned over my shoulder. Fun. I hate you. Want me to fake your death? At this point, maybe. At 8:14, I walked into the conference room. Grant was already there. So was our head of HR, Monica Pierce, and a lawyer I recognized from the acquisition team. Evelyn stood near the window. She didn't call me husband. That should have made things easier. Instead, it felt strangely worse. Sit down, Corey, Monica said. I did. The lawyer pushed a printed document toward me. We've traced the anonymous email through an internal relay server. So it came from inside. Yes. Who? We don't know yet. Grant cut in. But whoever did this had access to executive acquisition files. I looked at Evelyn. That narrows it down. Not enough, she said. Her tone was completely professional. No teasing. No childhood nickname. Nothing. Monica opened a folder. We also need to discuss the proposed vice president promotion. I'm declining it. Evelyn's eyes snapped toward me. Monica paused. You haven't formally been offered the role. Then this should save everyone time. Grant leaned back. Interesting. What's interesting? You're declining a promotion you haven't seen. Because accepting it now would make every rumor look true. Evelyn finally spoke. The promotion wasn't based on our history. It doesn't matter. It does. Not to everyone outside this room. Her jaw tightened. Monica stepped between us verbally before the argument could grow. There's another option. We delay the promotion until the investigation concludes. No, I said. Evelyn said, agreed. We both looked at her. She continued. Delaying it makes it look like we're hiding something. Grant nodded slowly. For once, I agree. Evelyn gave him a look. Try not to sound surprised. The lawyer tapped the folder. Then we need documentation showing Mr. Bennett was considered before Ms. Carter became aware of his employment. I laughed without humor. That's going to be difficult. Everyone turned toward me. Why? Grant asked. Because I wasn't. Silence held for a beat. I continued. My last performance review said I was reliable, but not sufficiently visible for executive track leadership. Grant's eyebrows lifted. That's quite specific. I remember being irritated. Evelyn crossed her arms. That review was written by Daniel Mercer. Yes. She looked at Grant. Pull his personnel decisions. Grant immediately understood something I didn't. You think this is Mercer? I think Daniel spent 6 months trying to stop the acquisition. Monica frowned. He resigned last week. Exactly. I looked between them. Who is Daniel Mercer besides apparently the guy who thought I lacked executive sparkle? Grant answered. Former chief operating officer. Former. Evelyn removed him after finding irregular consulting contracts. Evelyn added. And because he was terrible at his job. Good to know. The lawyer closed the folder. We'll investigate Mercer. Until then, Corey, keep records of any messages you receive. I already forwarded both. Good. The meeting ended 20 minutes later. I stayed seated. Evelyn noticed. Everyone else, give us a minute. Grant didn't move. Evelyn. A minute. He looked at me, then left. The door closed. I spoke first. I want to transfer. No. I'm serious. So am I. Another department. Another building. Somewhere I don't report anywhere near you. You currently report 3 levels below me. Apparently, that's still too close. Evelyn walked around the table. You're letting anonymous messages make decisions for you. I'm trying to protect my career. By running away? That's not fair. Neither is acting like knowing me is something you need to apologize for. That's not what I'm doing. It looks exactly like that. I stood. You're the CEO, Evelyn. I'm a product manager. Do you understand how this looks? I understand perfectly. No, you don't. Her eyes narrowed. Explain it to me. If you invite me to dinner, people notice. If you call me husband, people notice. If I get promoted, they assume it's you. If I succeed, they question why. If I fail, they say you protected me. I can't control idiots. But I have to work with them. She stopped walking. That landed. I lowered my voice. I spent 6 years building a career here. I don't want to become the guy the CEO likes. Her expression softened for half a second. Then she said, You think I don't understand what it's like to have people say you didn't earn your position? I said nothing. She continued. When I became CEO at 27, people said my father funded me. When Carter Dynamics bought its first competitor, people said the seller liked me. When we doubled revenue, people said I got lucky. That's different. Why? Because you can fire the people saying it. That almost made her smile. Almost. Instead, she walked closer. Then prove them wrong. How? Take the promotion. I laughed once. You're impossible. You earned the role. You literally just heard that my last review said the opposite. Your last review was manipulated. Can you prove that? Not yet. Then no. Her eyes flashed. You're stubborn. You married me at 7. You knew what you were getting. That finally broke her expression. She laughed. Okay, that was unfair. You started it. She looked at me for a moment. Then her voice became quieter. What if I don't want you transferred? That's not a business reason. I know. And there it was. The problem. She wasn't pretending this was only professional. Evie. What? You can't say things like that here. Why? Because you're my CEO. I'm also the girl you promised to marry. We were children. You keep saying that like it erases everything. What exactly is everything? She hesitated. For the first time since she had walked back into my life, Evelyn Carter didn't have an answer ready. Then someone knocked. Grant entered without waiting. We found something. Evelyn immediately stepped away from me. What? Grant placed a tablet on the table. Daniel Mercer accessed the acquisition data 3 times after his resignation. Impossible, Evelyn said. His credentials were revoked. They were. Then whose credentials did he use? Grant looked at me. Yours. I stared at him. What? He turned the tablet. My employee ID was on the access log. Corey Bennett. 3 unauthorized logins. 2 downloads. 1 export of executive financial data. All from my credentials. That wasn't me. Grant's face stayed unreadable. I assumed you'd say that. I wasn't even in the office Sunday. Can you prove it? Yes. I was at my brother's apartment helping him move. Evelyn's voice cut through the room. Grant. He looked at her. You believe him already? Yes. That's exactly what the board will say. She didn't blink. I don't care. I did. Evelyn. No. You don't even know whether. I know you. You knew me when I was 8. I know enough. Grant let out a slow breath. This is going to get ugly. I looked again at the access record. There was more than company gossip now. Someone had used my identity to steal internal data. And if Mercer had done it, he wanted me attached to the leak. My phone rang. Unknown number. Grant immediately said, "Don't answer." I ignored him and picked up. Hello. A man's voice came through. Corey Bennett. Yes. This is Special Agent Malcolm Reed with the FBI's Corporate Fraud Unit. Every person in the room went still. The man continued. We need to speak with you regarding unauthorized financial disclosures from Halcyon Systems. I looked at Evelyn. Her face had gone completely cold. When? Today. Am I under investigation? A pause. Then the answer. At the moment, Mr. Bennett, you are a person of interest. The call ended 2 minutes later. I put my phone down. Nobody spoke. Finally, I looked at Evelyn. You wanted me to prove the rumors wrong? She watched me. Corey, I'm transferring. No, I'm not asking anymore. I walked toward the door. She caught my arm. Not hard. Just enough to stop me. You walk away now, Mercer wins. I'm trying to keep you out of this. Her grip tightened. I didn't spend 22 years finding you just to watch you disappear because some coward forged your login. That's not your decision. No. Her eyes held mine. But this is. She released my arm, turned toward Grant, and said, cancel my board meeting. Grant looked alarmed. Why? Because I'm going with Corey to meet the FBI. I stared at her. You absolutely are not. She picked up her coat. Try stopping me. Evelyn. She walked past me, then paused at the door and glanced back. One more thing. What? If you still want to transfer after we clear your name, I'll approve it. I relaxed slightly. Then she added, to my office. I stared at her. Grant closed his eyes. Evelyn smiled. And for one ridiculous second, with federal investigators waiting for me and my career potentially collapsing, I remembered the girl next door who had once blocked my driveway with her pink bicycle because I refused to play house with her. 22 years later, apparently nothing had changed. Except now she owned the building. The FBI office was not where I expected to spend Tuesday afternoon. Neither was sitting beside Evelyn while she argued with a federal agent about whether I needed a lawyer. I'm not under arrest, I said. Agent Malcolm Reed looked across the table at me. No. Evelyn leaned forward. Then why did 2 agents meet us downstairs? Standard procedure. For a product manager? Reed glanced at her. Miss Carter, I'm going to need you to let Mr. Bennett answer his own questions. I am letting him. You've answered 3. I knew the answers. I touched her arm. Evie. She looked at me. I'm fine. She leaned back. Barely. Reed looked between us. So the secret husband email wasn't entirely fabricated. We were 5, I said. 7 when we got married. Evelyn corrected. I turned to her. You're not helping. For the first time, Reed almost smiled. Then he opened a folder. Let's focus on the access logs. He slid several pages toward me. My employee credentials had been used Sunday at 9:14 p.m., 9:48 p.m., and 10:03 p.m. 3 logins. 3 downloads. One of them contained acquisition pricing that hadn't been publicly released. Where were you between 9 and 10? Reed asked. At my brother's apartment in Westerville. Anyone besides your brother see you? His girlfriend. 2 movers. The pizza delivery guy, if he remembers me. Reed wrote something down. Your phone location data could help. Take it. Evelyn turned sharply. Corey. What? Don't hand over your phone without counsel. I have nothing to hide. That's not the point. Reed closed the folder. She's right. I looked at him. That feels weird coming from the FBI. It's still true. Evelyn gave me an annoyingly satisfied look. I sighed. Fine. Lawyer. Good husband. Reed looked up. I covered my face for a second. Can we please not do that in a federal building? Evelyn smiled. The interview lasted another hour. By the end, Reed seemed less interested in me and more interested in the login system. The authentication records showed something strange. Whoever used my credentials hadn't simply typed in my password. They had duplicated an old security token assigned to my laptop. That token was replaced 6 months ago, I said. Exactly, Reed replied. So whoever did this had access to archived IT records, or physical access to the old device. My old laptop was returned to IT. Reed nodded. We're looking into that. When we finally left, Evelyn didn't speak until we reached the parking garage. Then she said, You're not going back to the office. Yes, I am. No. I have a deadline tomorrow. You are currently involved in a corporate fraud investigation. I'm aware. Someone cloned your credentials. Also aware. And you think now is a good time to finish a product forecast? It's either that or sit at home thinking about prison. You're not going to prison. You sound very confident. I am. She stopped beside her car. I know what it feels like when someone decides you're guilty before you've done anything. That tone made me look at her. What happened? Nothing relevant. That's not an answer. It's the answer you're getting. I folded my arms. You expect me to tell you everything, but you get to keep secrets? Her jaw tightened. I don't expect you to tell me everything. You hired an investigator to find me. That was different. How? I was looking for someone I cared about. The words came out fast. Then she seemed to realize what she had said. I did too. She looked away first. Get in. Changing the subject? Yes. At least you admit it. We drove back to the office. I expected the floor to be almost empty. Instead, people were waiting. Ryan spotted me first. There he is. Half a dozen coworkers immediately stood. I stopped. What is this? Monica from HR stepped forward. The company issued a statement. My stomach tightened. What statement? Ryan handed me his phone. It was from Evelyn. Not PR. Not legal. Her. Corey Bennett has my full confidence. The current investigation concerns unauthorized access to company systems. Any employee spreading unsupported claims about his involvement will be subject to disciplinary review. I turned to Evelyn. You sent this? Yes. Before the FBI interview was finished? Yes. That was reckless. No, it was accurate. You don't know that. I do. You can't keep defending me because we grew up together. Her face changed. I'm not. It looks like you are. Ryan suddenly became very interested in the ceiling. Monica quietly walked away. Evelyn lowered her voice. Come with me. To where? My office. I have work. Now, Corey. That tone left little room for argument. I followed her upstairs. The door shut behind us. You want to know why I'm defending you? She asked. Yes. Because I reviewed your work before I ever contacted you. I frowned. What? When I found your name during the acquisition, I pulled 6 years of performance records. That feels invasive. I was buying the company. Still, you built the client recovery system that saved the Denver contract. I said nothing. You rewrote the logistics model after Mercer's team failed. How do you know that? Because your name was buried in an appendix. She stepped closer. You saved 3 major accounts and got credit for none of them. That happens. It shouldn't. So the promotion was because you were already doing the job. I looked away. She continued. I didn't decide you were good because I knew you. I realized the company had been wasting you. That hit harder than I expected. For years, I had assumed being overlooked was just part of the job. Do good work. Keep your head down. Don't make noise. Apparently, someone had finally looked. The fact that it was Evelyn made everything more complicated. I still can't accept the promotion now. I know. I looked at her. You know? Yes. You argued with me for an hour yesterday. I'm allowed to reconsider. That might be the most shocking thing you've said since husband. She almost smiled. Then her desk phone rang. She answered. Carter. Her expression changed immediately. Send it. She hung up. What? IT found the archived laptop record. And your old laptop wasn't destroyed. Where is it? It was assigned to someone temporarily 6 months ago. Who? She turned her monitor toward me. The name on the screen made no sense at first. Executive Technology Loan, Evelyn Carter Transition Team. I stared. Your team had my laptop? For 12 days. Who on your team? She clicked the record. One person. Grant Holloway. I sat down slowly. No. Evelyn didn't speak. Grant. He was coordinating the acquisition security review. He said Mercer might be behind this. I know. You trust him. I trusted him. That word mattered. Past tense. Her phone buzzed again. A text. She read it. Grant just left the building. After finding out IT was checking the laptop? Yes. Where's he going? I don't know. I stood. Call security. I already did. A second later, someone knocked hard on the office door. Monica entered. She looked pale. Evelyn, you need to see this. She handed over a folder. What is it? Grant's resignation letter. Evelyn opened it. Inside wasn't one page. There were several. She read the first, then flipped to the next. Her expression went from anger to something I couldn't read. What? I asked. She didn't answer. I stepped closer. Evie. Finally, she handed me the papers. It wasn't only a resignation. It was a copy of an old email chain from 17 years earlier, between Evelyn's father and Daniel Mercer. I read the first message, then the second, then I stopped. Your father knew my family? Evelyn took the papers back. Apparently, after her family moved away, her father had tried to rebuild his company. Mercer had been one of his early investors. Buried in the emails was my father's name, Thomas Bennett. My dad had worked for a small accounting firm at the time. He had discovered financial irregularities in one of Mercer's companies. I looked at Evelyn. Why is my dad in this? I don't know. Monica pointed to the final page. There's more. I read it. Mercer had threatened legal action against the accounting firm. My father had refused to withdraw his report. Then came one line from Evelyn's father. Thomas Bennett is the reason Mercer lost access to the Carter restructuring deal. If he hadn't intervened, we may have lost everything. I stared at the page. My dad helped your family? Evelyn looked just as shocked as I felt. I never knew. Then another memory surfaced. Something tiny. My father standing in our kitchen the night Evelyn moved away. My mother asking why the neighbors had left so suddenly. Dad had answered, sometimes good people get caught in bad business. I had forgotten it until now. Evelyn sat down. All these years. What? She looked at the old email. My father always said someone helped him when nobody else would. And it was my dad. She nodded. Then she looked at me. Corey, I don't think Mercer is attacking you because of me. My stomach tightened. He's attacking me because of my father. Yes. Monica's phone rang. She answered, then immediately put it on speaker. Security. We found Holloway's vehicle. Evelyn stood. Where? Airport parking. Did he board a flight? No. Then where is he? A hesitation. We don't know, but there's something else. What? The trunk was open. I felt my chest tighten. And there was a box inside marked with Corey Bennett's employee number. I looked at Evelyn. Security continued. The box contained his old laptop. No one said anything. Then the voice added. And a handwritten note. Evelyn gripped the desk. What did it say? The answer came through the speaker. Tell Evelyn the boy next door was never the real target. My skin went cold. Evelyn's face drained of color. What does that mean? I asked. She didn't answer. Evie. Her eyes met mine. And for the first time since I had seen her again, she looked afraid. Not for herself. For me. There's something I never told you about the night we moved, she said. What? She looked at Monica. Leave us. Monica hesitated, then walked out. The door closed. Evelyn reached into the locked drawer of her desk. She pulled out another envelope. Older than the one from the diner. This one had never been opened. My father gave me this before he died. She placed it in front of me. My name was written on it. Not in a child's handwriting. In her father's. I stared at her. You've had this the whole time? Yes. Why didn't you open it? Because he told me it belonged to you. I picked it up. What's inside? Evelyn swallowed. I don't know. I tore the envelope open. There was only one page. 3 sentences. I read the first, then the second. By the third, my hands had started shaking. Corey, if you are reading this, Daniel Mercer has probably found you. Your father protected my family once, and Mercer never forgave him. Do not trust anyone who tells you Evelyn's disappearance was an accident. I read the letter again, then a third time. The words didn't change. Do not trust anyone who tells you Evelyn's disappearance was an accident. My hand tightened around the paper. Evelyn. She didn't answer immediately. She was looking at the letter like it had opened a door she had spent years keeping locked. What does that mean? Her eyes lifted to mine. I don't know. You don't know? My father died 8 years ago. He never explained. But he left this for me. Yes. Why? She looked away. I think he knew something would happen eventually. That's not an answer. I know. For once, Evelyn Carter looked exactly like the little girl from 22 years ago. Not a CEO. Not the woman who could walk into a boardroom and silence everyone. Just Evie. The girl who had disappeared without saying goodbye. I placed the letter on the desk. Tell me what happened that night. Her fingers tightened. I already told you. We moved. No. I shook my head. You told me your family left. You never told me why. She stayed quiet. And I hated that she still had the ability to make silence feel like a wall. Evelyn. She walked to the window. When we lived next door, my father was building his company. It wasn't big yet. He had maybe 20 employees. Okay. Daniel Mercer was one of his partners. The same Daniel Mercer who used my account? Yes. What happened? My father discovered Mercer was moving money through fake companies. I frowned. He was stealing? Not just stealing. Her voice lowered. He was preparing to blame my father. I stared at her. Why? Because my father was the face of the company. If things collapsed, Mercer could walk away. And your dad found out. Yes. What does that have to do with you leaving? She looked down. Because Mercer found out my father knew. A cold feeling moved through me. He threatened your family? My father said it wasn't a threat. What was it? He called it a warning. That's worse. I know. She turned around. The night we moved, my father received a call. He packed our things in less than 2 hours. And he didn't tell anyone? He tried. Who? She looked at me. My father tried to tell your father. My breath caught. My dad. Yes. When? Before we left. I sat down slowly. What happened? I don't know. You don't know? I was 8, Corey. She swallowed. My parents were fighting. My father told my mother to get me and leave immediately. He said he needed to talk to someone. Your dad. Yes. And he never got the chance. I looked at the letter. Because Mercer stopped him? I don't know. The answer frustrated me. But I could see something in her face. She wasn't hiding information. She was carrying missing pieces too. What happened after you left? My father spent years rebuilding. He cut ties with everyone connected to Mercer. And you? I remembered you. I looked up. That's not what I asked. I know. She smiled slightly. You always hated when I avoided questions. I still do. I know. She sat across from me. When I was 12, I searched for you online. You were 12. Yes. That's insane. You were my best friend. I called you wife. You also promised to fix my broken bike. I was 7. You never fixed it. That seems less important now. It was a very serious betrayal. Despite everything, I laughed. Then the laugh faded. Because the truth was sitting right between us. Someone had spent 22 years keeping secrets. Someone had connected our families before we even understood what that meant. And now that person was coming after me. My phone buzzed. I looked down. Unknown number. Again. Evelyn immediately stood. Don't answer. I'm tired of people telling me what to do. Corey. I answered. Hello. Nothing. Then a voice. Thomas Bennett's son. My body went still. Nobody had called me that before. Who is this? You should ask Evelyn what happened to the promise her father made. My eyes moved to her. She heard the voice. Her face changed. What promise? The caller ignored her. Your father thought protecting Carter would save him. My grip tightened around the phone. What do you want? A laugh. You still sound like him. Like who? Your father. The call ended. I immediately called back. Blocked. Evelyn looked at me. Corey. Who was that? I don't know. You're lying. I'm not. You recognized something. She didn't answer. That was enough. Evie. She closed her eyes. There was one more thing my father told me before we left. What? He told me never to find you. The room felt smaller. Why? Because he thought anyone connected to him would become a target. And you ignored him? Yes. Why? Her answer came immediately. Because I missed you. I looked away. That was the problem with Evelyn. She said things directly. No games. No pretending. And somehow that made it harder. I spent years thinking you forgot me, she continued. I didn't. You did. I forgot details. You forgot me. I didn't argue. Because maybe she was right. I was a kid. I know. But you were important. Her expression softened. Then why did you look surprised when I came back? Because I thought I was the only one who remembered. She didn't respond. A knock interrupted us. Grant stood outside the door. Evelyn immediately became the CEO again. What? He looked between us. We have a problem. You resigned. I know. Then why are you here? Because before I left, I found something. He held up a flash drive. I stared at it. What is that? Security footage. From where? Grant looked at me. Your apartment building. My stomach dropped. Why do you have footage from my apartment? Because someone accessed your unit 2 nights ago. Evelyn stepped forward. What? Grant continued. They didn't steal anything. Then why break in? He looked at me. Because they weren't searching for something. A pause. They were leaving something. My expression changed. What? Grant handed the drive to Evelyn. Watch it. She connected it to her laptop. The footage loaded. My apartment hallway. Sunday night. A person wearing a dark jacket walked toward my door. Face hidden. They stood there for almost a minute. Then they placed an envelope under my door. I recognized the handwriting. My heart sank. Because I had seen it before. On the letter from Evelyn's father. The same handwriting. The same style. Thomas Bennett. My father. But that was impossible. My father had been dead for 5 years. Evelyn whispered. Corey. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. The person in the video walked away. Before leaving the hallway, they turned slightly toward the camera. Not enough to show their face, but enough to reveal something in their hand. A small object. A pink plastic ring. My ring. The one Evelyn had kept for 22 years. The one I gave her when we were children. I looked at Evelyn. She looked terrified. Then my phone received one final message. Not from an unknown number. From my father's old email address. An account that had been inactive for 5 years. The message contained only one sentence. Corey, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from what happened to Evie. And underneath it, but the person who separated you two is still alive. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared. At least, that was what I told myself. I had dealt with angry clients, impossible deadlines, and managers who thought yelling louder somehow created better results. But this was different. This wasn't a problem I could solve with spreadsheets. This was my childhood. My father, Evelyn, and a person who had spent 22 years hiding the truth from both of us. At 6:30 the next morning, I was already sitting in Evelyn's office. She walked in carrying 2 coffees. She placed one in front of me. You're still drinking it black. I looked at the cup. You remembered? You told me when you were 7 that sugar was for people who didn't appreciate coffee. I stared at her. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever said. Yes. And you remembered? Yes. I picked up the coffee. Do you remember everything? Not everything. What did you forget? Her expression changed. For a second, she looked uncomfortable. I forgot what your voice sounded like. That answer surprised me. I looked at her. You forgot my voice? I remembered your laugh. Your habits. The way you annoyed me. Glad I left such a strong impression. But your voice changed. She smiled slightly. That was the hardest part. I didn't know what to say. Evelyn Carter was a woman who could negotiate billion-dollar deals without blinking. But one sentence about a childhood memory made her seem younger than she was. Then the office door opened. Grant walked in. I immediately stood. What are you doing here? He ignored me. He looked at Evelyn. I found the person who sent the first email. Her expression became serious. Who? Grant placed a folder on the desk. An external account. That's not possible. It was created using a former Carter Dynamics employee identity. Whose? Grant looked at me. I already knew before he answered. Thomas Bennett. My chest tightened. No. That account was created 14 years ago. My father was alive 14 years ago, but the email was sent yesterday. I stared at the folder. So someone is using his identity. Yes. Why? Grant looked at Evelyn. That's the question. I hated that answer. Everyone kept giving me pieces. Never the whole thing. I grabbed the folder. What else? Grant hesitated. That bothered me more than anything. What? There's a record of a payment. To who? He looked at Evelyn. Your father. My eyebrows pulled together. My father received money from Carter? No. Grant shook his head. Your father paid someone connected to Carter. I looked at Evelyn. She looked just as confused. When, 22 years ago, the room went quiet. Not because nobody had anything to say, because the number itself was too heavy. 22 years. The same amount of time she had been gone. The same amount of time someone had been hiding something. Who received the money? I asked. Grant opened the file. Daniel Mercer. My stomach dropped. What? Your father paid Mercer. That makes no sense. Maybe not. Evelyn stepped closer. Show me. Grant handed her the document. She read it quickly, then slowly. Her expression changed. What? She looked at me. My father didn't know. Know what? That Mercer was threatening my family. I frowned. What are you saying? She put the paper down. My father thought Mercer was helping us leave. Helping? Yes. Why would he? Because Mercer told him he could arrange a safe relocation. I stared. So Mercer convinced your dad to leave? Yes. And your father paid him? Yes. I ran my hand through my hair. Then Mercer wasn't just trying to hurt your family. Evelyn finished the thought. He was controlling what happened. Exactly. The person who separated us wasn't some random enemy. He was someone close enough to manipulate both families. Someone who knew everything. Someone who knew about the little boy next door. Someone who knew about Evie. My phone rang. This time, it wasn't unknown. It was my brother. I answered. Jake. His voice sounded worried. Corey, where are you? At work. You need to come here. What happened? There's something in Dad's old storage unit. My heart immediately tightened. What? I found a box with your name on it. I looked at Evelyn. She already knew. When can I get there? Now. I hung up. Evelyn grabbed her coat. I'm coming. No. She stopped. Excuse me. This involves my family. It involves mine too. You don't know that. She looked at me. Corey. I knew that tone. It was the same tone she used when she was 8 and had decided I was not allowed to leave her yard until I apologized for breaking her toy. You are not going alone. You're impossible. You've mentioned that. Grant cleared his throat. I'll drive. I looked at him. You're still here? Yes. You resigned? Yes. Why? His answer surprised me. Because if I leave now, whoever is behind this wins. I studied him. Yesterday, I would have suspected him. Maybe I still did. But something about his expression was different. He looked exhausted. Not guilty. Just tired. Fine, Evelyn said. Fine. I repeated. You can distrust him while he helps us. That's not a comforting sentence. It's the realistic one. 40 minutes later, we arrived at the storage facility. My brother Jake was waiting outside. He looked between Evelyn and me, then smiled. So this is the famous neighbor? I frowned. What? Dad talked about her. I froze. What? Jake looked confused. Wait, you didn't know? Evelyn stepped forward. What did your father say? Jake rubbed the back of his neck. When I was younger, Dad used to keep this old photo. What photo? You and a girl. My heartbeat changed. What did he say? Jake looked at Evelyn. He said, that little girl was the reason Corey believed promises mattered. Nobody spoke. Evelyn looked down. I looked away. My dad remembered. Even after I forgot pieces. Even after time moved on. He remembered. Jake unlocked the unit. Inside were boxes. Old books. Tax files. Family photos. Nothing unusual. Until Jake pointed to the back. That one. A single box. My name written on it. I walked over. The handwriting was my father's. I opened it. Inside was a stack of documents. The first one was a letter. The second was a photograph. The photograph was old. Very old. It showed two families standing together. My parents. Evelyn's parents. And two kids in front. Me. And Evie. But there was something wrong. The photo had been taken after the night she supposedly moved away. The date on the back made my blood run cold. 3 days after Evelyn's family left. I looked at her. You were still here. Her face went pale. What? The photo. I handed it to her. She looked. Then her fingers started shaking. That's impossible. Why? Because I don't remember this. Nobody moved. Jake looked at the photo. Maybe you were brought back. Evelyn shook her head. No. She stared at the picture. No. I remember that day. What day? The day we left. She touched the photo. I remember crying because I thought I'd never see you again. Then why is this photo taken after? She didn't answer. Then she noticed something. On the back of the photo, underneath the date, there was another sentence. Written by my father. The day we found out the children were never the reason they were separated. I felt a chill. What does that mean? Evelyn turned the photo over. Her eyes moved across the words again. Then she whispered, Corey. What? She pointed. At the bottom of the photograph was another name. Not mine. Not hers. Someone else. A child's name. A name we both recognized. Because it belonged to the person who had been standing beside us the entire time. Daniel Mercer Jr. For a few seconds, nobody moved. The name on the photograph sat there like a warning. Daniel Mercer Jr. I looked at Evelyn. She looked back at me. Neither of us wanted to say what we were both thinking. Grant finally broke the silence. Mercer had a son? Evelyn slowly nodded. Yes. How old? Same age as us. My stomach tightened. I looked at the picture again. 4 children. 2 families. One memory I didn't have. One person who had been there from the beginning. I don't understand, I said. Evelyn took the photo carefully. Daniel Jr. lived next door to us for almost a year. I stared at her. You never mentioned him. I forgot. You forgot a whole person? She looked frustrated. I was 8, Corey. Yeah, but you remembered a plastic ring for 22 years. That hurt her. I saw it. I regretted it immediately. I didn't mean. No. She shook her head. You're right. The honesty made me feel worse. I remembered the things that mattered to me. She looked at the photograph. And apparently I forgot the things that scared me. That sentence changed everything. Scared you? Evelyn nodded. I never liked Daniel. Why? Because he was always watching. Grant frowned. Watching? Yes. She pointed at the picture. He wasn't like us. That's a little harsh. No. She looked at me. He wasn't playing with us. I looked at the photo. Daniel Jr. was standing slightly behind everyone. No smile. No expression. Just looking at the camera. He was 10, I said. I know. So what? So the day we moved? She stopped. I waited. She took a breath. The reason I remember that day so clearly is because Daniel was there. My eyebrows pulled together. Why? He came to our house before we left. Right before my father told us to pack. Grant stepped closer. What did he say? Evelyn closed her eyes. I don't remember everything. Try. She was quiet for a moment. Then, he asked me if I was sad about leaving. And I said yes. What did he say? Her voice became softer. He said, good. Now Corey will forget you. The words hit harder than they should have. I felt something move in my memory. A sound. A voice. A boy standing near the fence. I had forgotten his face. But not the feeling. I remember him. Everyone looked at me. What? Evelyn asked. I rubbed my forehead. Not clearly. Corey. He used to take my toys. Evelyn stared. What? He would say they were his. Grant frowned. Why don't you remember this? I don't know. Then another memory came. A little boy tearing the plastic ring box out of my hand. Saying, she won't stay. I stood suddenly. He knew. Evelyn looked at me. Who? Daniel. I looked at the photo. He knew you were leaving. Yes. He knew before me. Yes. And he knew about the promise. Evelyn went silent. Because she knew. Daniel Mercer Jr. didn't just witness our childhood. He was part of why it ended. Jake walked closer. So what happened to him? Nobody answered. Grant checked his phone. Then his face changed. What? He showed Evelyn the screen. I watched her read. What is it? She handed me the phone. A personnel file. Not Daniel Mercer Sr. His son, Daniel Mercer Jr. Current position, senior consultant. Employer, Carter Dynamics. I stared. He works for you? Yes. Evelyn looked sick. I hired him 6 months ago. Without knowing? No. Why? Because he changed his last name. I looked again. The name was different. Daniel Cross. That's why nobody noticed. Grant's voice became serious. He joined the company right before the acquisition. My stomach dropped. He knew. Yes. He knew I worked there. Yes. He knew Evelyn was buying the company. Yes. And he planned everything. Evelyn grabbed the folder. Why? That was the question. The one nobody could answer. Why spend 22 years waiting? Why ruin two families? Why bring me into this? Then my phone rang. The caller ID made my blood run cold. Unknown. I answered. No one spoke at first. Then, did you enjoy remembering? My hand tightened around the phone. Daniel. Evelyn stepped closer. The voice laughed. Still the same. Where are you? Does it matter? Yes. Why? Because I want answers. Another laugh. You always wanted answers. My voice hardened. What did you do? What your father couldn't. My eyes narrowed. What does that mean? He thought kindness would protect people. He was right. No. The voice became colder. He was weak. I looked at Evelyn. She heard every word. You separated us. Yes. The answer came so easily. My chest tightened. Why? Because she was supposed to belong to me. Evelyn's face changed. What? Daniel continued. She was always supposed to choose my family. You were children. Children remember promises. I felt anger rise. You were a kid. I was the only one who understood. Understood what? That Evelyn didn't need you. The line went quiet. Then, she needed someone who could give her power. I laughed. You're insane. No. His voice sharpened. I spent 22 years making sure I would become someone worthy of her. Evelyn stepped toward the phone. Daniel. The voice changed instantly. Softer. Almost emotional. Evelyn. Her expression turned cold. You ruined our lives. No. You lied to my father. I protected you. You threatened my family. I saved you. I could hear the disgust in her voice. You don't get to rewrite what happened. Daniel laughed quietly. That's exactly what your father did. What? Ask her. I looked at Evelyn. Ask who? Ask Evelyn why her father never told you the truth. The call ended. I lowered the phone. Nobody spoke. Then Evelyn said, he's right about one thing. My stomach tightened. What? My father hid something. What? She looked at me. The night we left. She swallowed. My father didn't just tell us to leave. Then what did he do? He went to your house. I stared. My house? Yes. To see my dad? Yes. Why? Her voice became barely audible. Because your father had discovered something. What? Evelyn looked at the photograph. Then at me. He discovered that Daniel Mercer Jr. wasn't just Daniel Mercer's son. I waited. What was he? She handed me another document from the box. A birth record. The name was different. Daniel Mercer Jr. had another identity. One nobody knew. I read the name. Then I looked up. Because suddenly everything made sense. The company. The threats. The obsession. The 22 years. The person behind everything wasn't trying to destroy Evelyn. He was trying to take her. The document showed. Daniel Cross was the biological son of Evelyn Carter's uncle. Not a neighbor. Not a childhood friend. Family. And beneath the record was my father's final handwritten note. Corey, if you find this, it means he has started again. Do not let him convince Evelyn that she was ever alone. Because the truth is, the sentence stopped halfway. The ink was faded. The rest was missing. But underneath, another line had been written. Not by my father. By Daniel. She was never yours. I stared at the last sentence until the words stopped looking like words. She was never yours. For years, I had thought the strangest thing in my life was a billionaire walking into my workplace and calling me husband. I was wrong. The strangest thing was realizing someone had spent 2 decades trying to erase a promise between two kids. A promise that nobody else had ever taken seriously. Except Evelyn. And apparently Daniel. I looked at her. She was still holding the document. Her face was unreadable. Not angry. Not scared. Something worse. Disappointed. Evelyn. She didn't answer. Hey. Finally, she looked up. I hate that he remembers too. The sentence surprised me. What? She folded the paper. Everyone thinks the problem is that Daniel is obsessed. Isn't he? Yes. But he remembers the same things I remember. I didn't know what to say. Because that was the terrifying part. Daniel wasn't some stranger who appeared out of nowhere. He was there. He knew the same childhood. He saw the same moments. He just chose to turn them into something twisted. Grant broke the silence. We need to contact the police. Evelyn nodded. Yes. And security. Yes. And you two need to stop being alone. I looked at him. That sounds like advice from someone who resigned. I resigned because I was compromised. He looked at Evelyn. But I'm still responsible for fixing what I helped create. Evelyn frowned. You didn't create Daniel. No. Grant looked down. But I helped bring him back into your life. Nobody responded. Because he was right. 6 months earlier, he had approved Daniel Cross joining Carter Dynamics. Without knowing who he really was. Without knowing the history. Without knowing he was the person who had been hiding behind the shadows. My phone buzzed. Another message. This time, from Daniel. A photo. My old neighborhood. The 2 houses where Evelyn and I grew up. The caption. 5 o'clock. Where it started. Evelyn saw it. No. What? We're not going. He wants us there. That's why we're not going. I looked at her. You spent 22 years looking for me. Her expression changed. What does that have to do with anything? It means you don't run from things that matter. She looked annoyed. You're quoting my own personality back at me? Yes. That's unfair. You taught me. A small smile appeared. Only for a second. Then she became serious again. Corey, Daniel is dangerous. I know. You don't. I do. No, you don't. She stepped closer. You still think this is about proving something? I didn't answer. Because maybe she was right. Maybe part of me wanted to prove I wasn't the little kid who lost his best friend. Maybe I wanted to prove I wasn't someone people could push aside anymore. But there was another reason. He took something from us. Her eyes softened. He took a childhood memory. No. I shook my head. He took 22 years. That was when she stopped arguing. Because she understood. At 5 o'clock, we went back. Not alone. Security followed from a distance. The police were already investigating. But Evelyn and I stood between the 2 old houses just like we had when we were kids. The neighborhood had changed. The houses were different. But the sidewalk was still there. The place where a 5-year-old boy once looked at a girl and decided she was his wife because it made her laugh. Evelyn looked around. I hated this place. I looked at her. What? I hated it after we left. Why? Because everyone kept telling me I was lucky. Lucky. They said I had a new life. She smiled sadly. But I didn't want a new life. I looked at her. I wanted my old one back. Before I could answer, a voice came from behind us. You always were sentimental. We turned. Daniel Cross stood near the sidewalk. Older. Different. But the same eyes. The same expression. Evelyn stepped forward. Daniel. He smiled. I knew you'd come. You threatened him. I reminded him. You destroyed our families. No. He shook his head. I revealed what was already there. I stepped forward. You framed me. I used your own history. That doesn't even make sense. It does. He looked at me. You were always the weakness. Evelyn's expression changed. Stop. Daniel ignored her. You were the boy who thought love was enough. And you were the boy who thought control was love. His smile disappeared. For the first time, I saw anger. Real anger. You don't know anything about me. You're right. I looked at him. But I know enough. He laughed. You think you won because she remembers you? No. I looked at Evelyn. I think I won because she chose. Daniel's face changed. Because that was the one thing he couldn't understand. Evelyn wasn't a prize. She wasn't something someone could claim. She never had been. Daniel looked at her. After everything I did for you, you still choose him? Evelyn answered immediately. Yes. No hesitation. No fear. Just yes. Daniel stared. You don't even know him anymore. She smiled slightly. You're right. Then she looked at me. But I know Corey. My chest tightened. Because that was the first time she had said my name like that. Not as a memory. Not as a childhood promise. As a choice. The police moved in. Daniel finally realized the conversation was over. But before they took him away, he looked at Evelyn. You'll regret this. She shook her head. No. Why? Because I already spent 22 years regretting losing him. Daniel was arrested that night. The investigation lasted months. Everything came out. The fake accounts. The leaked files. The manipulation. The old threats. The truth about our families. My father had tried to protect Evelyn's family. Her father had tried to protect mine. And Daniel had spent years trying to make everyone believe the opposite. 3 months later, I stood outside Carter Dynamics again. Different day, different reason. This time, there was no investigation. No rumors. No whispers. Evelyn had cleared my name completely. She also refused to let me take the vice president position. Instead, she offered me something else. A leadership role I actually wanted. No special treatment. No shortcuts. Just earned. Ryan still complained. You realize you're the only person in the company who can argue with the CEO? I don't argue. You told her the new office design was terrible. It was. You told the CEO her coffee machine was overpriced. It was. You called her wife in the hallway. That was her idea. Everyone knew by then. Not the rumors. The truth. One Friday afternoon, I stayed late finishing a report. At exactly 5 o'clock, my phone buzzed. A message from Evelyn. Come downstairs. I smiled. Is this another CEO command? Her reply came immediately. No. It's your wife asking. I shook my head. Still impossible. When I reached the lobby, she was waiting. No assistants. No executives. Just Evelyn. She held something in her hand. The old plastic ring. I thought you lost it. I almost did. She looked at it. But I didn't. I smiled. Still keeping that thing? Yes. Why? She looked at me. Because it was the first time you chose me. I wanted to joke. But I couldn't. Because 22 years ago, I had called a girl my wife because I thought it was funny. Now I understood why she remembered. It wasn't the word. It was the promise behind it. I took a small box from my pocket. Her eyes widened. Corey, relax. I am relaxed. You're definitely not. She opened it. Inside was a simple ring. Not expensive. Not designed to impress anyone. Just something real. I know we already had a wedding when we were 7. She laughed. The ceremony was terrible. You cried because I stepped on your shoe. You stepped on purpose. I was 7. You were annoying. Still am. She smiled. Then looked at the ring. Are you asking me? I nodded. Yeah. Why now? Because when I was 7, I called you my wife because I didn't want anyone else to have that title. Her eyes softened. And now? Now I'm asking because I want you to choose me. For once, Evelyn Carter had no clever answer. No CEO confidence. No perfect sentence. Just a smile. Yes. The next Monday, we walked into the office together. Everyone noticed. Of course they did. Ryan immediately whispered. Finally. I laughed. During the morning meeting, Evelyn stood at the front of the room. The entire company waited. She looked at me, then smiled. Before we begin, there's something I should clarify. I already knew what was coming. Corey Bennett is not here because he knows me. She paused. He's here because he earned it. Then she looked directly at me. And because he has been my husband since he was 5 years old. The room laughed. I shook my head. You really never let that go. She walked closer. No. Why? Because you promised. I smiled. And you remembered? She took my hand. Always. And after 22 years, at exactly 5 o'clock, I finally said the words I should have said a long time ago. Hey, wife. Evelyn smiled. Hey, husband. This time, neither of us was joking.